This is part 2 of the Unit 3 lab, and we are about to add some hydrochloric acid to the manganese sulfate. And we'll go ahead and stir that. And what would you write for the observations? And so I would say that it's just like the control. Nothing happened. Technically, it was a physical change because we mixed them together, but definitely not a chemical change. All right, we're done with our first table, and now we're going to move on to the second table. We are still combining ammonia and hydrochloric acid, but this time we have 4 new chemicals to put it with. And I started setting that up for us over here on the left. All right, so we'll check it out. We have Fe, which is iron nitrate. And the first thing we want to do is say, what color is it when it's all by itself? So I would say maybe a clear brown. So that's our control again that we use to compare our other reactions to see if we have a chemical or physical change. Now we have cobalt. Cobalt nitrate, that is. And what would we write down for that observation? Well, I would definitely say that it's clear again, but maybe a purplish, pinkish, somewhere in there, depending on your monitor. And next we'll add the the copper nitrate. And we definitely have blue. Let's see. Over here, we said that this was light blue. I would say this is a darker blue. So we'll say that that one is a darker blue. And then we have our zinc. And what would you write for your observation for zinc by itself, the zinc nitrate? Well, it looks the same as these over here. So we're going to go with the same thing and say it is light blue and clear. So now let's do some combinations. We are going to add our ammonium hydroxide to our iron. Oh, but before we do, I need to go ahead and grab the stir rods because we have to make sure that we stir up our chemical reactions, because if we don't, they will not react as quickly and we won't get the right results. All right, so we have our ammonia hydroxide. And let's go ahead and stir that. And we'll look at our side view. And I didn't quite get over here fast enough, but we see that it's got a precipitate. Precipitate is the chunks, and in this case, they fell to the bottom. Our liquid is on top. And so for observations for this one, I would definitely say that we have a light brown liquid on the top and a dark brown precipitate on the bottom. Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's the same as this guy, so we'll just copy paste. Light brown clear liquid at the top, dark brown precipitate at the bottom. And now we'll go ahead and put the cobalt nitrate with the ammonia hydroxide. And, ooh, that one just turned on its own. There we go. So you can see that it just settles to the bottom again. So again, we put 2 liquids together. It made a chunky solid, and that chunky solid is called a precipitate. So what would we write for our observations for this one? I think I'm going to go with gray over blue, because if we compare it, this definitely looks more grayish on my screen. So we'll say a light gray clear liquid at the top and a dark gray precipitate at the bottom. All right, next we have our copper nitrate with our ammonium hydroxide. And there we go. That one changed really fast too. So hopefully you saw that one really fall to the bottom. If you didn't, please hit rewind because this is about the best I can show you on this. And go ahead and tell me what your observations would be for this one. And for this one, I'm going to say a dark blue because we did say it was darker than the previous blues. Clear liquid at the top and an even darker blue precipitate at the bottom. All right, and our last one is zinc nitrate. And there we go. Now it's not bubbles because it's falling down. Bubbles go up, so it's falling down. So what would you write for this observation? And we had a light blue clear liquid at the top and white precipitate at the bottom. So all four of these, would these be chemical or physical reactions? They would all be chemical reactions because we got precipitates. We created something new in all of these that are different from the originals. Remember, here's our originals. It's just the clear liquid. All right, let's continue on with our hydrochloric acid. So now we're going to add HCl to these same chemicals. And here was our original. And here's this one. Yeah, no change. So we would say light brown, clear. All right, let's do the next one. Make sure we stir it because some reactions do take a little bit longer. Some reactions in real life too happen instantly or really, really quick. All right, and here's our original. And here's what we got here. What would you say for that observation? I would say light purplish pink and clear. Now we'll go ahead and do the copper nitrate with the hydrochloric acid. And what would we write for that observation? Yeah, same as before. Darker blue, clear. Oh, all the exciting ones were on top. And our last one. And what would you write for your observations? I'd go with light blue and clear. Okay, we got all our observations done. And now we are going to look at our questions. All right, the acid in this lab is blank while the base in this lab is blank. If you're unsure, you can Google the names of the chemicals in this lab. All right, but I'll give you a hint. This is one answer. I'll put it down here. And remember, this is HCl. That's an L, not an I at the end. And our other choice is our ammonia hydroxide. And which one is the base? And which one is the acid? So question says the acid in this lab is what? It's HCl, hydrochloric acid. And the base in this lab, therefore, must be the other one. Bases usually end in OH, and we're going to talk more about that in a different unit later on. List 2 indications a chemical reaction occurred in this lab. All right, so these were chemical reactions. What are two different things that we saw that told us that, oh yeah, this was a chemical reaction? So you could say color change and a precipitate. And precipitate, oh, what is the precipitate? There you go. Is the chunky solid from when two liquids chemically combine. All right, so define precipitate. And again, that's the chunky solid from when two liquids chemically combine. And now we're going to get to the data. Which wells had chemical changes? All right, well, let's look at the one that we just did. Which one of these had chemical changes? A1, A2, A3, and A4, the whole top row. Nothing else on this one did. So this was our second well. So let's see, in microplate B, the second one. All of the top row had chemical reactions. And let's look at our other one. Which of these had chemical reactions? Well, this one did really obvious. Now remember, this one was the kind of tricky one, so we want to look at our notes. Let's look at our notes. This is the control. This is what it originally looked at. In other words, normal, before any reactions. So this chemical, potassium nitrate, is normally light blue and clear. So these two are light blue and clear. Were they a chemical reaction? No, they stayed the same. All right, calcium nitrate started out light blue and clear. Were these chemical reactions? Nope. NH4VO3 starts out light brown and clear. Was this one a chemical reaction? Nope, because it's the same. Was this one a chemical reaction? Oh yeah, yellow to green to blue, yeah. All right, manganese sulfate started out light blue and clear. Was this one a chemical reaction? Yeah, it was. We got to precipitate. That's our key word. That precipitate tells us that, oh yeah, we had a chemical reaction. All right, manganese sulfate started out as light blue and clear. Was this a chemical reaction? No, it stayed the same. All right, so we would say A4 and B3. So A4 and B3. All right, so now we're going to specifically look at which of the chemicals reacted. For each metal that participated in a chemical change, write the type of metal it is based on your examination of the periodic table. All right, so let's get our chemicals. This one had a chemical change. So I'm going to copy and paste it down here. And this one had a chemical change. So let's copy paste it down here. And all of these had chemical changes. So we're going to copy paste them down here. All right, but it only asks for the metal. So now we have to do a little bit of research. I'm going to clean this up real quick, hit pause, and I'll be right back. All right, so I listed out all of our metals. Let's look at our first compound. We have NHVO. We have 4 different elements. O stands for what? Oxygen. Is oxygen a metal? You know this. Are you breathing in metal right now? I really hope not. So that's not the metal. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each of these elements and see which one is the metal. All right, hydrogen. Is hydrogen a metal? Well, we can find it on the periodic table. It's pink, so it's a nonmetal. All right, let's go ahead and look at N. Is N a metal? It is not. If we look at V, V is right here in purple, so it is a transition metal. So we know that V is our transition